Hello everyone, coming to you live from Los Angeles, my hometown. I thought I'd just take a moment. I had a second here in my hotel room. Just thought I'd give a little shout out, see if anyone has any questions, anything they'd like to address. It's been so great to be here. It's been such a special trip. I came down from Marin County, originally from Palm Beach, Florida, to Marin County for a screening of Eating Our Way to Extinction, a great documentary. If you haven't seen it, you must. And then came down here a few days ago, enjoying my friends here and the beautiful light and all the familiarity of my old stomping grounds, which has been very cool. And I thought it'd just be fun to jump on and talk about physical excellence a little bit, from the heart rather than writing it down and talking about it. But if anybody is joining, hello Jennifer, and wants to ask any questions, by all means, let me know. But I just wanted to share with you just, from the visceral experience of what physical excellence is and what it means to me and how I define it and how to interpret it. Essentially, it's a sense of unstoppableness. It's a sense that the body actually is your channel, your vessel for greatness, for expressing the beautiful, inspirational energy that runs through it once you get to this state. And you get to this state from deep tissue cleansing, which means that you remove the waste matter from decades of accumulation from your cells and tissues and organs and of course the whole organism. And when you do it that way too, you don't have to organ cleanse. You don't say, oh, I'm going to do a liver cleanse or a kidney cleanse or a gallbladder cleanse. You just organism cleanse, because everything gets cleansed when you do that. And you do that long enough and consistently enough, and you come into a physical excellence, a sense of being completely asymptomatic, meaning having no symptoms, none to speak of, and more than that, because health is not the absence of disease, the absence of symptoms. It's the presence of an incredible well-being, a kind of inexplicable euphoria. There's nothing that the outside world can give you that's better than what you feel inside. So that's what physical excellence means to me, and that's how I define it. And from there, you just go to higher and higher stages of it, higher and higher degrees. You go from strength to strength. You have the energy to pursue the kinds of physical expressions that you love, like maybe it's dancing, maybe it's a sport that you love, and then you get stronger. And as you get clearer and stronger together, you reach very, very high degrees of physical excellence. So that's what I mean by physical excellence. Any questions about physical excellence, please bring them through. But if there's anything that you guys want to just jump on and talk about, I'm happy to do that. So just let me know. And on Saturday, I'm going to host a little meetup here in my little spot here. I'm between Beverly Hills and Westwood on Wilshire Boulevard. And anyone who wants to come and partake of that, would love to have you. I have very limited space, but I'm sure if you're keen to come, we can make it happen for you. Just DM me on that. And we can address anything else you might have on your heart that or something you might want to understand better about the work. It's really important that we have a chance to not just post things, but actually see each other. We've spent too much time with distancing and being apart. Now that we don't have to do that, we can be face to face and share our energy and our thoughts and whatever may be needing to be expressed, shared, understood together, face to face. It's very, very special that we can do that. So, and I'd like to do that everywhere I go. So, I'll be back in Palm Beach on Monday. So anyone who wants to do that in Southern Florida, we can make that happen as well. Hi, Lynn. So yeah, welcome. And as sort of last minute, just thought I'd bring this to you guys. Now, I'm not very good at this. If a question comes up, I think I'm going to see it, right? I'm not even good at lighting. I literally just have a lamp here, but better something than nothing, right? So what else can I tell you about physical excellence in the meantime? I think the most important thing to know is that it's attainable for anyone, and it's easy. It's a simple formula. It's the awaken and release technique that I've taught for the last 22 years. We awaken the waste that's accumulated in the body, and we release it. And then we do that consistently. And in removing this, we remove that septic residue that causes all of our diseases. So, if we remove the harbinger from the diseases, we remove the problem. then where's the problem? Well, there is no problem, right? There's certain words I can't use when I talk about that, which, I think those of you know that I need to speak a little bit in code here, but the dissolution of symptoms is what happens when the waste matter is released. And the waste matter, people don't always like to talk about that, but they'd rather sit in it and like let it percolate in their body. That doesn't really seem to make sense, right? So we have to get into a place collectively where we can get really comfortable talking about that which is in the body that needs to leave, and not be afraid of it, not shy away from it, not think of it as a taboo. It's amazing that we actually have a way to turn everything around. And it's so easy. It's just a matter of the degree to which we awaken the waste and then release it. And the different methods we have for the irrigation, for the release. Of course, I love the Enlightener. I'll sing the Enlightener's praises from the rooftops and to anyone who'll let me, because it's a way of doing this on your own time, in your own space, wherever you go. I've got one, of course I travel with mine, so I plug it into my hotel room, and wherever I go in the world, wherever I am, I can make it work. And that means that everywhere you go, you feel wonderful. You just have a constant state of living the exalted life, living the high life, the actual high life, the true high life, which you could never get from material possessions. It comes from within. It's the life force. It's the infinite intelligence that has all the know-how that can restore everything that needs to be restored. But it's not about, everyone thinks, well, I need to have a perfect diet, or that's not true. You just need to have enough alkalinity to awaken to stir up, to bring to readiness, to tee up enough waste, and then you get rid of that waste, and then you do that again and again and again, and that gives you physical excellence. It's not about starving yourself. It's not about having to feel exhausted and frustrated and edgy because you're dieting. You never have to do that. You're going to eat beautiful food, but it's not just about the food. So we have to stop putting our emphasis solely on the food. A lot of people say to me, oh, Natalia, I've been following your work for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and it's great, but I really never really got my head around the colonic stuff or the enema stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, well, then you weren't really doing the work. You may have read the books and had a green juice every day, and maybe you're properly combining your food, and that's great. That's really, really good. And because of that, you'll be better off than a huge majority of the population. But the great experience I'm talking about, the physical excellence, that mountaintop experience every day, feeling like you just are unvanquishable, and you're just filled with the life force, and you have so much to give, not just with your own energy, but your heart is open. And that expression. Okay, there's somebody who wants to come on, which is wonderful, Jacqueline. Let me see if I can do this. Send invitation, is that right? Okay. Let's see if she's going to come on. Hope she does. And yeah, so that comes from doing it all. Jacqueline, what a wonderful treat. How are you?
I actually pressed that by accident. I didn't know what I was doing, but hi, Natalia.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you properly. It's muffled.
Wait, can you hear me?
I can't. Maybe everyone else can, but can somebody give us a thumbs up if they can hear Jacqueline? Because I'm not hearing you right, and I need to hear you right. And I want to hear everything you have to say because I'm so excited you're here. Try again. Say something. Jacqueline? Oh dear, I think we lost her. All right, well, chime in when you're back, or if you need me to bring you back on again. All right. In the meantime, where were we? So doing the work is doing it all. But the most important part is the removal of the accumulation, of the saturation of waste matter from decades of taking in substances that we're never going to leave. They were never intended for the human body to begin with. We were just socially conditioned to believe that they're a good idea. And so we do what we're told. We do what our culture tells us to do collectively. And you know, and for someone to come out of the woodwork and say, well, actually, not only is that not a normal thing to eat, not a healthy thing to eat, but you actually need to have this procedure on a regular basis of removing the waste matter, which, you know, means going in a certain way into the body with something as simple and, you know, and healthy as water. But nevertheless, if that's not conditioned in, it's kind of shocking, kind of off-putting for a lot of people to think about. But what's more off-putting, of course, is not doing that work and letting it just sit in there and do the rot, and rot the tissue, rot the cells, rot the systems, cause rot to flow through the various the lymph system and everything else. So we want to make sure that that if you think you're doing the work, that's the work that really needs to be done most of all. So the removal of waste matter is where the magic happens. And anyone who's been doing this work for a long time, has been doing that, knows that, and will, you know, certainly please chime in. I know some of you have had that experience, so don't be shy. But yeah, that's really where it all happens. So you gotta create the conditions for yourself to be able to release that waste. And when you do, it's undeniable. It's, you know, it's visceral. It's you know, it shows on every level. You feel it on every level, and you don't have to worry about things like getting older. You don't have to worry about your face falling. You don't have to worry about, you know, I've never had an injection. I've never had Botox or, you know, what are these Restylane injections? I don't know some of the names of them, but you know, I'm talking about, or, you know, these heavy peels or lasers, or you know, you just go about your life and you keep your skin well taken care of. You can use a simple pure soap and a scrub and you know, a good topical oil, and you're good to go. You know, it's just some coconut oil and a good bar of soap. And I like those scrubbing gloves. You know, when I have a shower or bath, I can't do that without having the scrubbing gloves. I just don't feel clean. And then you can use that on your face too. And you know, that's pretty much all you need. If you cleanse inside, everything just regenerates. Everything just, you know, it just the gift that keeps on giving. And every day, you know, you have a good night's sleep. You have your green juice, and you may have some other things too. And you may have some eggs, and you may have some fish, or you may have some grain, preferably a clean grain. I'm not saying that those are life generators, but they certainly can have a place in the cleansing diet. So, you know, so you don't have to be in some kind of alternate universe where you know, you have to change everything. Most people eventually, naturally, just, you know, kind of by osmosis, consistently upgrade what they're eating. But there's no demand on that. It's just make sure there's enough alkalinity so you can awaken enough waste so that when you have your colonic or your enema, you use your enlightener, there's a prolific release. And that's all. And once you do that, you're on your way. And with every great release, again, we're going to talk about this stuff really freely. We have to get really serious right now, because we can't hold back. It's time. You need to know what your body's capable of. Your body needs to be your boon, not your burden. It needs to be that which enables you to fully express yourself, not that which holds you back, prevents you from fully expressing yourself. So, so that's where it all happens, and that's what we're doing. All right. Any questions, guys? I have a few more minutes if you'd like to jump in, maybe share your own story, or any concerns you may have. There's nothing that we can't address. Nothing's off limits, really. So, you know, it's all welcome. You're all welcome. And I just feel so much love for you all. And I want you to know how supported you are, and how great life can be for you. Whatever may be holding you back or making you feel like it's tough, it's overcomable. Either it's a physical burden, it's an emotional burden, or it's a mental burden. And if we can get to that, the core of that burden, it's accumulation from some level. If it's a mental burden, it's a mental accumulation. It's something that's coming from the programming and conditioning of the culture over time, that's caused you to think a certain way, that's holding you back. If it's emotional, if it's in the heart, then it's a kind of a learned dysfunctional way of feeling, or dysfunctional feeling that's been perpetuated over time. That can be released as well. And the beauty of the cleansing, the physiological cleansing work, is that all of the energy that's coming from the heart, that's coming from the mind, it's tied up in that waste matter. It's tied up in the tissue because, the body is the inner child. It's holding all the memories. So as you have these prolific releases with your irrigation of choice, you're releasing in the matter, you're releasing the emotion, the dysfunctional emotion, you're releasing all of the energy that's coming from the mind and the heart too. So you just, have these, you know, astronomical upgrades happen on every level. And that's why I say, you have so much to give. You feel generous of spirit where you might not have before. You lose any sense of competition. You're freed of mental constructs that were burdening you for so long. You start to see with new eyes, and you start to feel with a new sense of everything. I can't emphasize that enough. And it happens, it just happens. You don't have to try. You awaken and release the waste, and the body, mind, and heart all become lighter. And when I say lighter, I don't just mean like a feather. I mean filled with the infinite intelligence. And remember, that infinite intelligence has what's called know-how. So either the body's being dumbed down and losing its know-how because it's saturated, it's impacted, it's not able to, the cells aren't able to communicate with each other, or you have the know-how. We want the know-how, right? So we get the know-how by removing this waste and creating space for the infinite intelligence to fill our cells and tissues and spaces and systems. And when that happens, the know-how knows what to do. You don't have to worry, am I getting enough of this nutrient or that? Do I need to take this superfood or that one? The know-how, the infinite intelligence is adaptogenic. It's the triage system. It knows exactly what to do first and in what order to continue. You just have to maintain those conditions so it can keep working for you. And what tends to happen if people don't get it right, especially if they're not doing the actual elimination of the waste matter, they'll fall back into old patterns, because the elimination of the waste matter is the elimination of the addiction. It's the elimination of the fungus. It's the elimination of the heavy metals, the radiation, the environmental estrogens, and hormones. So if you're not releasing those, you're going to get sucked back into the negative patterns that come from having those things in your system. So by releasing the waste, you're releasing all of those other things, and then you're losing the addictions without even trying. So most people think, how could I do this? I could never live this lifestyle, because they're thinking that the addictions that they have are going to be today are the addictions they're going to have tomorrow. So they can't even see themselves actually being comfortable and happy having a green-centric diet eventually, or or feeling good, period, because you don't feel that until you do it. And only on the other side of it, only after a few days, doesn't take long. It's the degree to which you have the releases is the degree to which you have that positive result of feeling freed of those addictions, or at least them diminishing very, very rapidly. So you can't imagine how good it gets until you actually get there, but you can't get there until you just do it. And really, it doesn't come from the perfection in the eating. It comes from the quantity of elimination. And so that's also a little bit easier to get your head around, I think, if you're somebody who has struggled with dieting, or who has had, has memories of feeling disgruntled when having to sort of apply some kind of dietetic rules. This is so different, because it's not about how little you can eat, or how perfectly you can eat, or how vegan you can be, or how raw you can be. It's how much waste can you release, and you have power over that. And you don't have to starve yourself to do that. In fact, you don't want to. You want to, just find that perfect balance. If you go too far, then it's not good, because then you're awakening too much. So, all right. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit. I do get enthusiastic about it. And I want you to feel the energy, because it's our natural state, and the brain fog will clear. It just gets really good. It gets better all the time, and there's really no other way to put it. But I want you to feel it. I want you to have this experience too, which is so tangible, so accessible. And when it happens, it's not a question mark. It's not, am I getting better? It's not, is this working? It's so completely obvious. And it'll be obvious to you. It'll be obvious to the people around you. It'll be, it'll just be so, so clear. And if you've been nervous about it, I guess I'm here to say just jump in, just do it, just see for yourself. There's no age group or life stage in which this isn't a good idea. It's the right idea for for every life stage, for every age. We want to make sure that if very young people might not actually be using an irrigation method, but simply by upgrading the life force in their foods, the know-how in their bodies already so rich and so abundant that they will naturally kick the stuff out of the body on their own so much more readily. But we will see, as people continue to be off the mark, as living in this modern world, that in order to heal with all these diseases happening earlier and earlier, the irrigation methods will have to be applied younger and younger. So, so that will be something in the future too. But there's no point in which you can't turn everything around and have the most dynamic physical experience. I know it may be hard to believe if you've been struggling, but just, you're never going to know unless you try it. And you can't go wrong. It's never going to do anything but good. And at least you'll know firsthand. I always tell everyone, like, don't listen to me. You must be your own investigator. You must run your own experiment, and then you'll know for sure. It's we don't have blind faith. We have experiential faith. I want you to have experiential faith. I want you to trust in the process because you've done it and you feel it, and you know it, and and no one can tell you different because you have had that experience firsthand. Okay, so if there are no questions, and maybe I'm missing something because I know I'm not very good at this, but I'm so happy that those of you who have jumped on have, and it means so much to me. Sharon, Colleen, Lydia, love you so much, Lydia. All of you guys, I'm just so happy you're all here, and have the best day, evening, whatever time it is where you are, and send you guys huge hugs. And if there's anything I can ever clarify, or just DM me, or send a note through, and I or the team will see it and respond. Okay, lots and lots of love, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of the day.